I've tried to live my business career on, do what I can do of the things that I'm really, really good at. What are my superpowers? And then try to fill in the team around the rest.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Franchise. As always, I'm your host Paul Ehlinger here. Excited to be joined today by Gavin Lantzy. Gavin, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Paul. Excited to talk with you.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, for those who may or may not know you, what do you do with Daisy, and how the heck did you get to where you are today?
Sure. Well, yeah. So now I am with Daisy, and I kind of consider myself in charge of finding good partnerships with all the different people out there. I started as a multi-unit franchisee in a house painting company when I was in college. So spent a lot of time on the operations side, learning about the franchise model, helping build and scale that business to kind of multi locations, building a big team, and just really enjoyed the support and learning and knowledge that I was able to get from people who were there before me. And I
Yeah.
learned a lot of skill sets on how to kind of grow a business with power of shared resources. And was lucky enough to sell that business in 2013. I then bought out my dad, who had a company called Savvy Home here in Denver, Colorado. Savvy Home was a custom integration firm that installs all the things Daisy does. So we call it smart home automation, things like audio, video, lighting
Yeah.
control, and blinds and shades and security and surveillance, kind of anything home house technology we install and service.
hmm
And with my painting and franchise experience, I always had the vision of maybe could we grow the CI business and franchise that,
Yeah.
expand that across the country to a national brand, because there isn't a real national player in this space.
hmm
So we grew that business for 10 years, franchised Savvy Home in 2023. We'd signed a couple locations, and then Daisy was introduced to our founder, Hagen and Dion, through a mutual mentor,
hmm
who ended up, putting a deal together with them to come on and join forces to just really build underneath the Daisy brand, kind of this national smart home installation company. And it's been a blast ever since. So that transaction closed in August of last year, and so I've been on the Daisy team now for a little more than a year.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. I mean, good first year so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2.5 years ago we were just a slide deck, so we've
Yeah.
come quite a long way.
Hey, 2.5 years ago, Flamel was a slide deck as well. There's something magical about getting out of a PowerPoint, right?
That's right. That's right. Meeting
Um,
people and making it happen.
yeah, I love that. And I'm curious, maybe starting off a little further back in your journey, and then we'll work our way up more into kind of what you're doing with Daisy. But taking over your dad's business, starting to give it a growth strategy around franchising. What's that experience like, right? Like, obviously, you can see, you got the franchising system early on in your career, but what other decisions really led to you wanting to choose franchising as the method for growth for Savvy Homes?
Yeah, well, I think two things kind of led up to that. Number one is the ability to service clients
hmm
better with a centralized support system. Right, it's
Sure.
a really better experience, in my opinion, in a home service industry
hmm
like painting um, or smart home. That
hmm
it takes a village, right? It takes a lot of different people doing a lot of different things, and for the client experience to have kind of big company backing, standardized systems, and then still get that local ownership presence, it just
Yeah.
made a lot of sense to me, to kind of do it that way. So that was one reason. And the second reason is that, there wasn't a national brand at scale. So we, had big visions, big goals of like, can we roll this out more than just a regional player here in kind of the Rocky Mountains?
hmm
Can we go national? Can we build on that platform?
Yeah.
And so far, the answer is yes.
Yeah. Why do you think there hasn't been a large national player, that has emerged onto the scene? Given I think smart homes are still absolutely emerging. Like, they're by no means sophisticated, but there's been in-home speakers, internet became a thing. Like, what do you think has prevented somebody from kind of taking that mantle that you guys are taking now?
Yeah. Well, not to say it hasn't been tried and done a little bit different ways, not
hmm
necessarily through, the franchise model like Daisy's doing at scale. Um, but there's been some industry kind of mergers where some of the
Sure.
large players have got together and made kind of regional presence, kind of in the markets that they serve.
hmm
I think it is kind of sort of this industry as a whole being a $30 billion industry, and
Yeah.
there's 20,000 custom integrators across the country,
Yeah.
many of which do really great work, and it's a very specific skill set,
Yeah.
right? Um, but it's a sign, I think, in this industry of kind of it maturing, to the
Hmm.
fact where technology for the customers, I mean, people would rather go without their water than their Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we're attached to it in so many
Yeah.
levels with how we, I'm recording this podcast from home using the internet, right?
Right.
And if it fritzes out, we got problems. And we stream movies all the time. My kids do homework, from the dinner table on their iPads, right?
Yeah.
Like, um, these connected devices are such a way that we live
Yeah.
now versus even 5 or 7 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's just this industry at the whole is now, coming to that spot. And I think for what we do, it's hard to do it at scale, right?
Yeah.
Like it really requires a lot of back end systems, centralized technology stack, which isn't really available for custom integrators off the shelf like a lot of mature industries are.
Yeah.
So those have been kind of the some of the roadblocks.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. And I think, I mean, a part of it too, I have to imagine, is to your point, the amount of like IoT home devices that exist now is insane. Like, and so having that centralized kind of stack has to help just from like the perspective of knowing what works well together, how to integrate this with that, and kind of just being more streamlined overall, I guess.
Yeah, I think that, and also, we have the infrastructure to remotely monitor and manage
Mm.
these home systems,
Yeah.
to be that trusted brand with an in-house call center with tier 3 technicians that answer the phones, can solve those cases, can help customers when their Netflix doesn't work Friday night, like
Yeah.
they know who to call, right? So it's I think now using technology to run this type of business,
Yeah.
is a lot more achievable than it was.
Yeah, no, I think it's fascinating. I have to ask you personally, like, were you a big smart home nerd before you got all involved in this? Like, I know myself, like, oh man, I've got like Home Assistant downloaded. You can like open source home automations off of it and everything. Like, curious, like, were you passionate about this before you got into
Well, so I've got all the bells and whistles now. I use my
it?
house as a showroom for a lot of
Sure.
years. Um, Honestly, no, though. I'm much more business minded, and I
Yeah.
still don't know how to like terminate a wire, or strip a Cat 5, or any of that stuff. Like I hired really great people around me that you
Yeah.
know can handle that. Of course, I always had interest in technology.
Yeah.
Being at the forefront of that, and especially with where AI now is, with kind of the privacy in the home, and how we just live and interact with that has always been fascinating to me. I think I'm more of a lifelong learner, and I think technology supports that because it's
Yeah.
always evolving.
Yeah, 100%. And kind of bridging into Daisy, maybe give me a couple minutes. What was the decision to run with Daisy, to roll up into the platform? What was that like for you, running your business, deciding to join into a bigger one? What led to that for you?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, it was Hagen Kapler, Dion Person, our two co-founders.
Hmm.
Really was able to establish a pretty quick trust with them after learning
Yeah.
about their background, their pedigree, and kind of building national brands. The franchise experience that they had, both
Yeah.
in with Service Master and kind of the whole pest control industry that they helped, build out. Um, and so felt really good that they had, big plans, big goals, and really great experience with the
Hmm.
team that they were kind of putting around here,
Yeah.
at Daisy. So that was first and foremost, is it's got to be about the people, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
and then, looking at, the fact that the Daisy had raised $35 million of venture capital,
Yep.
is certainly a feather in the cap when it comes to supporting the
Sure.
franchise network, right? And it takes a village, as I've already mentioned, and that has to do with like the 41 people that are on the Daisy central support team, right? So
Yeah.
all of our branches get access to the call center services, the product support team, the sales and
Hmm.
marketing team, the HR and recruiting services that we provide, our training certification LMS that we've built out. We have
Yeah.
an in-house tech team, a lawyer team, a legal and a M&A division that helps in organic growth for our branches. So like that's a lot of infrastructure that's
Yeah.
poured into each and every location. So I think it's just it ultimately it was about we could be a lot stronger together when
Yeah.
we put those resources together and are trying to accomplish those big goals.
Yeah, no, and I think, from your perspective of, trying to sell more franchisees, like, has to be a great feather in the cap to be like, oh, by the way, look what's behind us. Like, all these services we have, all this additional capital, when you compare you to somebody who has the equivalent number of locations, you guys are way more resourced than almost anybody else out there right now. Do you lean into that in the development process?
Yeah, I think it's the responsible way to do it, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about investing in the people, investing in the systems, putting that type of back end together. If you're going to go start an Omaha, Nebraska, or you pick a dot on the map,
Yeah.
like that branch is carrying the flag of the brand,
Yeah.
and the central team has to be all 100% both time commitment, people
Mm.
commitment, and financial resources behind the success of that branch, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, absolutely. It's just to not have that capital, it makes it really really hard.
Yeah, yeah, you're running very lean
Mhm.
and probably unsupportive at that point. And I'm curious, you've touched on it a little bit, obviously with their roll up of Savvy, but they are going through a lot of integrations right now. There's a lot of momentum going and acquisition happening. What's the intentionality behind that as a growth strategy for Daisy?
Yeah. Well, I think we looked at the market, as I mentioned, being $30 billion, and our
Yep.
goal was to get to about a 20% market share.
Mm-hmm,
Right?
mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of market to go around. That 20% number is important when it comes to brand visibility,
Yeah.
density in the markets that we work at, customers just being aware that, oh, Daisy's something I could go to, right? And
100%.
kind of
Yeah.
drives that lead flow. So in order to achieve that type of nine-figure growth,
Yeah.
right? Like we need to think of ways to get there. And our first phase was, to come in and acquire some of the best and brightest and biggest players, in the country when it comes to smart home tenure, right?
Yeah.
And that's to build talent on the team, um, open up those new branch locations,
Mm-hmm.
um, standardize the playbook, and
Yeah.
and get some cash flow to reinvest into the system like we've been
Yeah.
talking about, right? So yeah, we've had a lot of conversations. I think Daisy's acquired 17 companies in the last 18 months,
I mean,
right?
that's just a crazy pace for any company.
Yes, it certainly is. But again, it goes to the experience on our team, like Hagen and Shiv and Dion and Brian and the leadership group that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been at other organizations where they've done many more deals,
Yeah.
than we're doing here. So like that team is kicking butt and a big reason why we're able to kind of execute, on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think it's got to be interesting. Like me as a founder, obviously I think about our exit strategy and stuff with Flamel, our company. For you, how much of it was just like the opportunity to get to work on an awesome team like that? Like you have to, I don't know all of your background, but I assume you feel like you're learning and taking stuff from a fire hose through 18 acquisitions that fast as well, or 17.
Yeah, well, and again, I love the learning, as I mentioned, and it
Yeah,
just fuels me every day. A lot of it was that, right? Was knowing we have big goals, and
yeah,
to accomplish big goals, you got to have people on your back, with big dreams that share in that vision, that buy into that culture,
yeah,
and are okay to work the 60, 70, whatever hours a week that it takes to get that stuff done, right? I mean,
yeah,
and have a smile on your face when you're doing it. I mean, it's hard,
yeah,
and it doesn't come quickly.
yeah.
But to have like-minded people, A-plus players in those seats to go to battle with every day, I mean, I get fired up every single day of meetings.
Yeah.
It's been a blast.
Yeah. How do you keep franchisees up to date? So I'm thinking through like, we see customers where like something about the brand guidelines will change, and it's a whole hoopla to get everybody up to date on that. But for you guys, it's like they look away for 2 months, and there's two more technologies being bolted in, into it. So, what's the culture around engaging and keeping franchisees up to date on the strategic focus and plans of the larger platform?
Yeah, well, communication is everything, right? Again, with our centralized tech stack, we have monthly town halls,
Mm-hmm.
we've got biweekly newsletters with all kind of the updates of going out, both how the business is moving, new locations, strategy that way, but also we have a full R&D department that's run by Matt and Terrell
Interesting.
and
Yeah,
these guys that have direct conduits to the manufacturer community, right? So
that's
they're
cool.
working with the Samsungs, the Sonys, the LGs, the control floors, the
Yeah.
big names in the industry that kind of are on our team as well. When you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, we're just uh, installers for their products, but we also are able to give them feedback and have kind of a seat at the table when it comes to what's working well, what's not. And
Yeah.
because we have those company locations, we can test out new product in
Yeah.
our corporate owned stores before we roll that out system wide.
Yeah.
So just that in itself saves franchisees huge time, you
Mm.
know, advantage just from trying to say, well, what's the best, security panel that I could be offering? It's like, well,
Yeah.
we've done that research and,
Yeah.
kind of would land on this.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's interesting. And from your role, I'm curious, right? Like, I would guess people are going to listen to this and be like, "Oh, Gavin doesn't get the struggles. Like, my job's so much harder because we're less resourced. Like, all this stuff. Like, what is top of mind for you? Like, what's the biggest challenge or opportunity you're tackling? Or that you're focused on rolling into Q4 this year?
Well, I think, how would I answer that? The partnerships, as I started with, is everything, right?
Yeah,
I'm really focused on identifying the right players to be
mm,
on this Daisy team as we're an emerging brand, right? We're
yeah,
not don't have 1,000+ locations. So every one of our branches is critical to have this mindset of feedback, of iteration,
mm,
of improvement, of constant getting better,
yeah,
and knowing that everything is not going to be perfect. So
yeah,
for me, it's really setting the culture up front, being transparent with that,
mm,
talking about how Daisy evaluates the candidates, right? The
yeah,
backgrounds that we're looking for, the experience that these people have had in their previous careers and leadership roles, and what mindset that they're bringing to our Daisy team, right? Because that mindset is what drives people's emotions, and their
yeah,
emotions are what drive their activity.
yeah,
So if you look at the mindset right first, right, nothing else follows down the road. So I mean, it's kind of an abstract answer, but like those are the things that I'm just laser focused on, as we
yeah.
wrap up the year.
I mean, it makes a ton of sense, right? Like, you clearly believe in the future, so you want to protect that future and grow it with people, right?
Mhm.
When it comes to that mindset, I think about that a lot myself. Like, there's just something to having a team of people who believe we can get any of this done. It doesn't really matter what ups and downs happen. At the end of the day, we're just going to get better and better and better. Like, how are you, grading or assessing that mindset as you're going through a process with potential Z's?
Yeah. Well, lots of questions. We also use Culture Index as part
Mm,
of
yeah,
our kind of screening application, sort of assessments, just to understand people. We all have strengths, we all have
sure,
weaknesses.
yeah,
And, I've tried to live my business career on, do what I can do of the things that I'm really, really good at. What are my superpowers? And then try to fill in the team around the rest.
yeah,
And I think any business owner in any industry is going to face those same leadership challenges as they grow and scale, their location. So the,
yeah.
the sooner we can know about that up front and really make a playbook with them on who's going to be the first hire, right? If they're more operations minded, we're probably going to want to lean towards an outgoing sales personality, right?
Yeah, right.
Versus someone who's very sales focused forefront, then like let's fill in the details behind that. So,
Yeah,
again, I want to, you know, have those conversations with people and see can Daisy what Daisy can bring to help with that. And part of our solutions that we offer is HR and recruiting services. So we
oh,
help with all
interesting.
like the top of funnel finding talent for all of our branch locations, right? So that
Yeah,
goes to posting job ads, to helping phone screen and interview those leads, to background check those talent people before they come across a franchisee's desk and
yeah,
they're making a decision for a hire, right?
yeah,
So for us to save them that top of funnel just with our experience, our tools, to sort of shed out a lot doesn't mean it's perfect because people are complex,
sure, yeah,
um, but it certainly puts a lot of set of eyes on who we're bringing into the business.
yeah, yeah. No, and I'm curious. what are the red flags that come up for you, right? Like, what does a potential Z do? Like, what is a question they ask, or a vibe they give off that you're like, I don't know, red flag, red alarm. What are some of those examples that you come across?
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's in a different sense of their journey, right?
Yeah,
Of learning about franchising, learning about business, what it's all about. So I'm pretty cool that way. I think, expectations of getting rich quick just don't exist. So like, let's
yeah,
throw those out the window. And if you expect it to go perfectly smooth, again, it's just a falsity. That's just not how business is, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
you got a goal to get over here, but the actual journey
Yeah,
is
how you
gonna.
end up there, nobody knows.
Yeah, and so like it really starts with, again, I go back to that mindset, right, of what people show, and a lot of it's just what you've experienced in the past, right? Have you
Yeah.
run a business before, or what type of career roles have you been in, and what challenges have you run into that you've
Hmm.
got in your way, to
Yeah.
getting there? So much
Yeah.
more try to get in tune with those things, and so that, I think, experience matters a lot.
Yeah, and I'm curious, like with everything you guys are doing and the systems you're building, and it being far more robust, does it take a different kind of franchisee, right? Like, again, you guys, like, just like hearing you talk and what you guys are doing and building, it feels like you're a 500 unit brand. You know what I mean? Versus where you guys really are. Does it require a more sophisticated franchisee than maybe somebody coming in off the street? First business, maybe talk on that a bit.
I don't think so. I mean, to me, like, you have to be well capitalized. I mean, our
Mm,
investment range is going to be between 135 and 300K for a
yeah,
single location. So we don't have a retail build out. Like, it's a very home based kind of van type of business to get started. So it's not a huge capital requirement, but you got to have the money to kind of get up and going.
yeah,
Um, in terms of sophistication, I think that our centralized team is able to plug a lot of those holes, right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
have
It's true.
access to those resources. So like, if you wanted to acquire a company in your area, well, you don't need to know how to do M&A.
Sure.
You've got the team to put that in place, right?
Yeah,
If you've never run a digital ad strategy, no worries. We have an in-house marketing team that helps
yeah,
along the way, right? So I mean, when it comes to sophistication, again, not to sound like a broken record here, but it's
yeah,
like, what mindset are we bringing in here? Can we
yeah,
build together? Can
yeah,
we can we talk it through when things get hard? And how
yeah,
do we solve and make the system improve day over day, week over week, year over year? Like,
yeah,
that's what it's going to take to get to these large goals, and that takes a unique personality, right?
yeah.
Because the excitement fades, man. It's about
Sure. You get in the
it's
trenches really quick, right? And you realize there's rain and explosions and
That's
everything.
right. So the repeatable, consistent execution
Yeah.
is what really matters. So let's find the people who want to do that, and there's probably a spot for you on the Daisy team.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. And I'm curious because, again, I think I'm just fascinated by the model. You guys are in such a unique position as compared to other folks we talked to at your scale. And I have to imagine the build versus buy versus acquire strategic conversations are a lot more advanced than what other folks your size are doing. What does that come down to? Like, you're looking to solve a problem on your side of the business. Like, what does that conversation internally look like for you guys to decide between, hey, let's build it internally, let's staff it internally, let's go external and do third party vendor. What does that look like for you guys?
Hmm. Um, well, I think a good team always can debate,
Mm,
right, and share different perspectives, different experiences, and we've got a very diverse team that is no, no stranger to that.
yeah,
I think that team also, after debate, needs to, when the decision is made, needs to
rally
get in
behind it.
line and go,
Yeah,
right, and execute and move all in that direction. Like, let the egos out the door. There aren't any here. Like, we need to
yeah,
kind of do that thing,
yeah,
right? So that's how we go about it, right? We don't know what all those right answers are, but we got a lot of vast experience, and we can kind of, again, we've have branches on our team that are doing eight figures of custom install a year. Like,
yeah. It's
those are
crazy.
big
That's
regional
big.
players that have done a lot of things and have grown a big business. And I've always tried to live my business career like, I want to follow people who are doing those things and are where I want to be, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's success in that. So, I just think that, like, we can have fierce debates and then decide what we think is going to be best for the brand first, and
Yeah.
then go that way.
Yeah. No, and I think I'm intrigued. So you kind of called out 20% of a $30 billion market, right? So you guys are carving out $6 billion right there. And if I'm doing back of the napkin math, that's a lot of revenue to get to that valuation and market share, right? Like what gets you to the next stage? Like obviously you have what's working today. What do you think you guys have to change or do execute differently? 12 to 24 months from now to keep that. I mean, you guys are talking an exponential curve, right? You guys are talking venture back curves here, which are not typical in franchising, I would say.
Mhm.
What has to go right? Like, what has to change and build into what you guys are doing today?
I don't know if it's a change is the right word. I think again we're off to a right track. I mean,
Yeah,
we're the largest player in the country by revenue. We're the
yeah,
largest player by locations. We're the largest player by number of employees. And I don't say that to brag. I just say that that's been 24 months of consistent execution and the
yeah,
right strategy. So those are things that are working well. That said, like, yeah, when you have big goals, you always feel like you're behind,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So, for us, like, yeah, $6 billion. Okay, it's going to take the great people that we've talked about.
yeah,
It's going to take continued, build out of each market the right way. And I think a tactical thing that we're really excited about is kind of like our potential for national account program,
yeah,
right, in this industry that you know doesn't really exist at scale right now in the country.
yeah,
Um, so those are things that can be put in place and that we have a team working on like right away. And as I look to the
yeah.
future, when you have things like energy management and storage as categories, aging in place, and the
Mm,
sensors and management of our in-laws and elders when they're growing and wanting to stay at home. How does technology help with that? And then the robotics push, right? Like
yeah,
we have home assistant robots. Who's better to service those things than Daisy?
yeah. Somebody already in the home.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
these tailwinds, I think for us are how we look at that $6 billion, adding these verticals and having this deployment infrastructure of great people on the ground, putting the customer experience first and foremost.
yeah.
Like that's what's going to take us to those type of numbers.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you're selling the sell. I'm right there. I'm feeling it. I'm excited for it. I'm curious. Like something I think about as a founder all the time. And I've gone through a private equity acquisition with the last company I was with, and it's like, what gets you excited about joining the thing and pushing to the next level? And I feel like for me, I always ask the question of like, would I want to work here? Like, do I want to work for these people? I'm assuming you had to have asked yourself that same question as you were kind of thinking through this and joining the Daisy team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And again, it goes to the human relationships. Like, can we gel together? Can we fail forward?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And could I selfishly learn from the people here to help, me get better as a leader and
100%.
continue my career projection and growth? Those are all important considerations, right? When I talked about joining the team and thought really hard about it.
Yeah.
Um, and again, there is that power of a team that gets unlocked when everybody puts the brand above all else.
Yeah,
If we can make decisions that way, like that's where the magic really happens when we have to
yeah,
go do that hard work, right? So
yeah, yeah.
that's what
It's
we say.
how you win in the long run for sure. We always like to a last section we always jump into is just kind of quick hitters. Rorschach's test style. First thing that comes to your mind. How does that sound to you, Gavin?
I'll give it a go. Whatever we think.
What most misunderstood aspect of franchising today?
That it's done for you.
Yeah, maybe give us 10 more seconds.
Franchising is a partnership,
Yeah,
right? To provide resources and support to help a business owner scale faster than they would on their own.
yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily do it for you.
I don't get to show up and become rich, Gavin. Is that what you're telling me?
Sorry, not
Damn
not, not here, not with
it.
Daisy.
What's been the biggest surprise for you since joining Daisy?
Um, I would say the kind of arms wide open approach from a lot of our existing integrator partners who have come to
Yeah,
us, understanding the pain points in their businesses and knowing that we have kind of built this back end infrastructure to
yeah,
help their businesses scale. So we work with a lot of existing owners, right, who maybe are stuck at a certain revenue level and want to take that next jump,
mm,
needing some of the systemization that we've kind of created. So
Yeah.
that's been really cool just to see sort of when they understand how we're going to market, how we're building that, and the value that Daisy can really add
Mm.
to these owners. It's really a warm feeling to know that we're truly helping them, from the core.
Yeah. And for all the people out there that are listening and are like, man, how do I become the 18th acquisition in the last 18 months? What makes a good acquisition target for Daisy?
Well, we're for the record, we're really not buying that many more companies
Mm.
like from the corporate owned side of
Sure.
things.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of kind of, looking at partnership investor roll ups in certain markets. That's kind of an interesting conversation,
Yeah.
to what we have. So, first and foremost, does the founder want to grow? Do they see their team growing? Do they see their existing business, that even if they want to take the next step into their next
Mm.
thing, like what current business there that has the ability to build upon? Because
Yeah.
as an investor, that's really the only reason why you can buy something, is it has to build, right?
Yep.
On
Makes
top
a
of
lot of
that.
sense. Yeah.
So, if we're wide open to those type of conversations and seeing where that may fit with a lot of people.
Yeah. Very cool. What's something you've changed your mind about recently?
Something I've changed my mind about. I don't know, man. I've been laser focused on what's working, like I kind of mentioned.
Kevin
Not saying
hasn't
it's
changed his
perfect,
mind
but
since he was 7 years old, guys. He's worn the same T-shirt for 20 years.
yeah, oh man, I would have to like go back through my calendar and look. Like I'm
No, you're
sure
good.
it's there, but it's not coming to mind
No, you're good. And then a final one, just what's something most people don't know about you?
about me. I am a huge ski bum, so my time off, you'll find me in the mountains here in Colorado.
Yeah,
Um, Skiing deep powder and skiing with my kids, just a
just a
pastime.
little fresh pow, yeah? You gotta
That's right.
love the fresh pow. I guess maybe I lied. A final one. Most underrated ski mountain in Colorado that people should be checking out?
Silverton,
Silverton.
Colorado. That's right. Little
Hopefully we don't
backcountry.
blow up the spot.
There you go. Little side country kind of great spot. Beautiful spot
Uh,
to see once.
I love that. And to wrap up, like a good late night show host, we'll always love to give you the stage, for a minute. Where can people reach out to you, find you, reach out to Daisy, learn more about Daisy?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way is go to our website, www.daisyco.com. All right, DAISYCO.com. I'm sure you'll put it in the notes.
We'll link it in
Uh,
the description.
there you go. Fill out a form there that'll connect you directly with me. We'll set up a conversation, and that's the best way to do it.
Beautiful. Well, Gavin, thanks so much for going through this. Like I said, fascinating to learn about it. You guys, I think you guys are just going about this in a more exciting way. Like you're going about it the venture way. It's the way I like to go. It's how we're trying to build Full Mel, and I think it's unique to some of the more slow and steady growth we see in franchising. So, thank you for being on the show and kind of walking us through it and giving us kind of more on it.
Yeah, great talking with you, Paul. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, thank you again for listening to another episode of Behind the Franchise. And we hope to have you on to the next one. We'll talk to you soon.